Well, hey there, readers. Welcome back to Young Adult Edition. We are so excited because every single week we are bringing you new book releases, book world news. We're talking all about bookish topics. And today we're doing a bit of a throwback to our childhood favorites. So pull out your flip phones and let's do this. I told you I had an intro.
My goodness.
I don't even know where
Wow.
it came from, but that was definitely my favorite part of flip phones.
I know. And like when you were mad, you just went,
I
like,
I had one of these in college, and you know how, like, in Princess Diaries, the queen is teaching her how to use a fan to show your emotions? I swear to you, this was my fan.
oh, I know. My razor was like my favorite because it just like flipped so easy
I had
and
a
you
hot
could.
pink razor and just boom. Oh,
Yes. I had hot pink and I had the red one.
yes. Yes, so much fun. Guys, we're talking all about our favorite childhood books today, the things that inspired us as children and inspired us as authors now. So we're so excited. We are thrilled that you are here hanging out with us on Young Adult Edition. I'm K.M. Robinson, author of the Siren Wars Saga, and this is my lovely co-host, Elle Beaumont, author of Binding of the Sea, and we're talking all about books today. So I know we've got some interesting new releases out this week. And I didn't pull the graphic up because I was so busy with my flip phone. So let me pull that up right now. We have a couple of things coming out this week. And just to give a little shout out to myself, because I can, last week my book Darker Depths came out. And it has been such a success. Everybody's loved it. I hope that you guys have all taken the chance to check it out. It is the second book in my Mermaid series. And I seriously, right now, I'm just stalling until this graphic comes up. So... It is just not cooperating for me today. Here we go. We've got it. We've got it, and it is coming up on air right now.
Boom.
Ta-da. These are our new releases for this week. We're super excited about these. We've heard all good things, and we hope you guys will check these out this week if you are interested in brand new YA releases. All right. So let's get to it. Let's talk all about our childhood favorite books. Elle, I know you've got a stack of books. I have a stack of books. We're going to talk all about these. But if you are joining us live here, give us a shout out, leave us some comment love, and tell us which books inspired you as a child. If you are on our replay here on Facebook.com/k.m.robinson books or over on YouTube or over on our blogs, go ahead and leave us some comment love too, because we want to hear from you. What should we read that we maybe missed as a child? Or what do you want to talk about that we both read? Let us know, give us some comment love, and hey, if you're having fun, hit the share button. So, Elle, what do we have? I know we've got some fun books there. How about you do one, I'll do one, and we'll just kind of go through it.
I know. I'm missing a lot because throughout the years, I've loaned out books and I never received them, which is like one of my biggest pet peeves, or I received it in tatters and I wept a little. However, yeah, I will start from my youngest years first and work my way up. So this is one that my mom would read to me when I was little. And this particular book I rescued from a library that was moving, and they were just going to throw out books in dumpsters. And that would be The Wind in the Willows. And I mean, it's an old book. This one, I mean, it still has like a discard stamp in it and everything, which makes me sad. This one was published in 1908.
Wow.
I'm not sure when this one was actually, I think 1933 is when this particular copy was produced. But this one, it's just about friendship and adventures that they go on and struggles. If you have not read The Wind in the Willows, you're missing out. This is like one of my childhood favorites that I don't actually read this particular book. I bought my children a new copy because I just can't bring myself to keep opening the spine.
You gotta protect the babies. You do.
Yes, I do.
That's so much fun. And speaking of books that we loved when we were little, I have to organize my pile better. When I was little girl, and always since, I have been a big fan of Winnie the Pooh. And I literally have, this is I think my first copy of Winnie the Pooh. Like, I found it today accidentally. And I'm like, I'm going to pull that out. This is the prettier version, but.
Yes, I love the old art.
Right? Oh my gosh. I haven't even recently opened this up, but like, look at that. Just look how pretty that is. I was so obsessed with this. I actually did in the 6th grade. We had to research an author, but they were like specifics. They were like classic authory type things, and I researched this, and I
Oh.
learned so much. I was so excited about this. I very distinctly remember my 6th grade year because there was so much cool stuff we did in that one particular class. But I am such a big fan of this. Like Winnie the Pooh, anything, love, love, love it, and the old artwork and the stories, and it's just so sweet. Love it.
Oh, yeah, my brother was absolutely obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. He had Winnie the Pooh books, the old, like the classic style Winnie the Pooh stuffed animals. I mean, he had everything Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Oh, so much fun. When I was probably like 11, 12, we went to Disney for the first time. It was right around my birthday, and we got to do the breakfast with Pooh for my birthday. It was really fun.
Oh,
Oh, it was so cute. So Winnie the Pooh, definitely one of my absolute top favorites. Cannot beat it. Cannot say enough good things.
did you ever watch the live action version of Winnie the Pooh on Disney? This is like years and years and years ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh, throwback. I loved anything Winnie the Pooh and anything Disney Channel. So,
Yes, back when you needed a special box just to get Disney.
oh yeah, yeah. No, that was a thing. I used to get up super early to watch all the early morning shows too. Like,
Yes,
I was very obsessed.
yes. Okay, and then my next one would be, this is Many, Many Tales. And this is another book that I had rescued from the garbage bin. And it is all Hans Christian Andersen stories. My mother is a lit nerd, and she inspired reading in all of us. Like, even when we couldn't read, she would take us to the bookstore, help us pick out books, and she would just be like, yeah, pick out whatever, and we'll read it to you, and that'll be your bedtime story. And she instilled in us the need for great literature, not necessarily American literature, but just great literature. And she didn't believe in having these fluffy books. Now, don't get me wrong. We did have fluffy books, but she really wanted us to have good literature in us and good morals and stories, and not just like, hey, see Spot run, like. So, I mean, this is another one that I'm very careful about opening because the spine is old and it just has, I'm going to be careful here. Beautiful old artwork.
It's so pretty. I love that.
And it just has all of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales in it, and it has color art in it too.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, it's just stunning. And some of them I've never even heard of. The Wild Swans, the Galoshes of Fortune.
We were talking about that before we went on air. I feel like we just need to do a live reading of that one.
I know. The Garden of Paradise. This one, The Marsh King's Daughter. There's so many stories in here. And I'm like, I think I'm going to have to read that to get some inspiration.
Just catalog all of these and we'll just like check them off. You do one, I'll do one, and we'll just go through all the retellings.
Exactly. But I grew up on Hans Christian Andersen. Like, before I saw The Little Mermaid, I actually knew the actual Little Mermaid tale, which Disney fluffs it up so much. Like, it's just...
Oh, yeah, no, that's a thing.
And what is your next one?
Well, I'm going to jump into my next one, but off of yours, I grew up with the fairy tales. I grew up with nursery rhymes, and I have a nursery rhyme book. Could not find it anywhere. I've been looking for literally a month because I've been trying to take a Bookstagram photo of this. Cannot find it anywhere, but I had a Mother Goose nursery rhyme book that I loved. So, just throwing that out there. So my next one that I actually want to talk about, this one is one of my favorite books, like, ever. And you and I have actually had this conversation before. This book made me sob. It is the best story, but it makes you sob. It's called Methuselah's Gift, and it's about a family of raccoons. And you kind of learn family dynamics and, taking care of each other. And it's about these kid raccoons and their parents, and more specifically, their grandfather. And it's just this tale of how they befriend a little girl, and she takes care of them and feeds them and gives them apples and all of this stuff. And they're learning all of these wonderful morals and all of these things. And at the end, we come upon someone who is not happy with these raccoons and is trying to hurt them. And the grandfather has to sacrifice himself for the grandchild, and it's just so sob worthy, but so good. And I just, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful this is.
That is beautiful.
So good. I love it. Oh, there is artwork inside. Look at this.
Oh,
I just love it.
You know what? Aside from you talking about that, I had never even heard of this book before. But
right?
like hearing about it, I'm like, do I want to read that?
So good. And I moved it. There's a sequel too. So the follow-up to what happened, and we see what happens to this family. My gosh, which I forgot until I saw this image. And it's
is that a wedding?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I really need to read. Look how beautiful this is. And it's just the sweetest, most lovely, most wonderful story of all time. I adore it. This shaped my childhood, and if I were going to write a book, I want to write that level of a book.
Oh,
so good.
Okay, on that, let's see. Trying to work my way up from these stories.
Organizing things. Mine are not in order. P.S.
Mine aren't either. Frog and Toad. Did you ever read Frog and Toad?
I absolutely had that.
I actually got this for my kids last year for Christmas, because this is what I learned to read on. These were actually the first books that I was able to read by myself. And my mom would just collect them. I don't have any of my Little Bear books, but along with Frog and Toad, it's just two friends on adventures. And I also had Little Bear. And I loved Little Bear because it was so easy and just kind of just fun and relaxing. And I also loved the TV show. The TV show was nap time for me.
Horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, the inside of this book too, it's the same old artwork from when I was little. And I just loved it because it was just two friends doing normal things, but it was just so easy and so nice. And they were so nice to each other.
See, don't we miss that as adults?
Yes.
My next book, I love this series. This was an amazing series. And this one's the first one, Brown Ears. So, so, so cute. It's about a stuffed bunny. And you just learn all of these fabulous lessons, and it's lovely. And then Brown Ears also goes to the sea, which is so much fun. What?
I didn't know that.
I did not know this series. Oh my gosh, it was so good. The Adventures of a Lost and Found Rabbit. It's just the sweetest thing. I loved it. My mother was a librarian, and so every single night we would do story time. Even when we were in upper elementary, early middle school, she would stand in the hallway between me and my little sister's rooms, and we would pick books and we would go through them. And eventually it got around to the point where I started liking books in school when I was a little bit older, and I would read them to my sister. We actually had a book that we read through back in the day. But my mother definitely read through all of these. I will say that they're in some of these stories, I'm referring specifically to the raccoon story a minute ago, but we were all sobbing as she was reading this live to us. So much fun. I loved the Brown Ears stories.
Oh my goodness. Let me see. See, I have so many books that I don't actually have copies of, but were
right. Yep.
They changed me forever.
I had to go through all of my mother's books that she stored for us, and she'd be like, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one.
See, my brother, shame on you, Zachary John. He destroyed so many of my books. He'd read them for school, and he'd just cram them in his backpack, and I would just sob. And I'd be like, what did you do to my Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? What did you do?
So fun fact, my dad gave a copy of my first book to my younger cousin, who was, I guess, 13-ish at the time. She crammed it into her backpack. When she returned it, I'm like, what did you do to my book?
By the time he was done with this report and he had to like obviously read the book, it didn't have a cover on it. It was missing its the cover and the title page. And I'm like, what? Now,
No.
I still have books from when I was like not even in my teens yet. And they're still in like pristine condition. And I always get ragged on because it's like, you don't even break the spine in. No, I don't. I don't. I don't. When I open a book, I very carefully, like I don't stress out the spine. You see that? It's not stressed.
Exactly. We take care of our books. Like people who break the spine, we can't talk to these people.
Don't. And the people that are in Bookstagram that fold the cover, and I'm like, no, oh my gosh.
It's horrifying to me. Like my heart just drops into my stomach when I see that.
No, please don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Yeah. The only time I will do that is if it's like a hardcover and it naturally wants to lay open like that. If it's a hardcover and it's too tight, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, if you break a spine of a hardcover like that, the pages start to fall out.
Yeah. And it won't hold up for years to come. So no, thank you. I'm not breaking spines. Breaking spines is bad.
You can quote us on that, guys. Hashtag Young Adult Edition chat over on Twitter. And just a little shout out since we're on it. Come join us on Friday where we'll be talking about our childhood favorites, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter. Hashtag Young Adult Edition chat. And let us know if you are a spine breaker or not.
And then don't talk to us. No, I'm just kidding.
We love you anyway, but we're going to educate you.
Yes. Okay. So my next book, and this goes for these, all of the authors' books, that would be How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And that would be Dr. Seuss. And I was actually part of his book club. So every month I would get these bundle of books and I devoured them. I absolutely adored his books because it was like nonsensical and witty and just, they didn't have to make sense. And I know a lot of people rage about him saying he's a hack job and everything, but it's not about making sense. It's about inspiring children to read and getting them interested in reading. It doesn't have to make sense. You know, like this is a beginner book. And if your child is struggling to make sense of reading, like why not make it fun? You know, like it's just, I absolutely loved him. Believe it or not, I had a very hard time making like reading comprehension. Reading, I was good at. Reading comprehension was very difficult for me. So I stayed on books this level for a while. And Dr. Seuss, like really, Dr. Seuss and Little Bear and all that, they really helped me really focus on learning the comprehension part. Dr. Seuss, it's just, you don't really have to comprehend it anyway, but it's just, you comprehend, oh, this is just to be silly. Like,
one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Love
it's counting, you know, like you're learning your colors, you're counting.
Exactly.
Yes.
So my next book is actually kind of like a whole collection, a whole series, and it was actually transformed into this entire huge giant world, which I know we all kind of love, and we all have one specific favorite. We do. It's a thing. The American Girl.
Oh, yes.
I was obsessed with Felicity. My little sister loved Samantha. I just loved it, and I loved anything historical. So the Dear America books, I loved those. I didn't have one to hold up, but I absolutely loved that. Anything that had to do with the Underground Railroad or World War II, I loved it. Number of the Stars was one of my favorites. I wish I had that somewhere that I could pull because I adored that story.
Yes.
But anything historical, and also especially the American Girl collection.
Oh, I wish I had my Kirsten.
I think I saw one in the other room. I could have pulled that for you.
Because Kirsten was my favorite.
Yeah. I used to go to our library up the street before my mother was the librarian there, because she was a librarian at several different libraries and ended up at that one. But we used to go up there like every week, and I would pull like 3 or 4 of these, anything I could get my hands on. They only let you take out a certain number at a time. So I was constantly there getting the next ones. I just went through them all. Oh, I just loved it so much. Do you have a new one? Is there a new one here? Is there a new one? I always felt like Belle walking in. Do you have anything new? Not since yesterday.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. I can't even remember the title of them, but when I was little, I used to be obsessed with horses. And there were these special pony books. It was something pony. And each one came with a different necklace on the book. And the books were different colors.
I remember that. I was obsessed with horses. So I didn't bring them out here, but I have like 4 or 5 really big horse series, 70 books long. Definitely had those. But I definitely have some of them in the other room that I could have brought, and I just knew I'd go down the rabbit hole on that one. So
oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot. I have like the Misty of Chincoteague. Were those the books that you had? Born to Trot.
Yeah. There was one called, I want to say it was Horse Feathers, was one of them. There was this Saddle Brook. Nope. I know there was Saddle Club. I did those too.
I didn't do those. My sister did Babysitter's Club.
Yeah, we used to read those. That was so much fun. Which actually kind of reminds me of my next one, but you do your next one, and then we'll come back to mine.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Guys, if you are here joining us live, we appreciate you being here. Leave us some comment, Lev, and let us know, what were your childhood favorite books that inspired you to keep reading? Or if you're an author, what inspired you to become an author? Let us know.
Okay, so this one, if you know me at all, you're going to be like, yeah, I know, Elle. Any kind of form of retelling, any edition of this specific book, I probably have. I mean, I have. This is Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and this is just Alice in Wonderland. Again, I loved Disney growing up. Who didn't? But my mother really wanted me to read the real literature version. She was like, okay, you like Pocahontas? Well, you know what? Read a history book, okay? Because that's false. Like, okay, way to crush my dreams, Mom. But honestly, like, she was just like, I want you, when you're ready, I want you to read this, because this is so much different. And like, honestly, reading this in adulthood, it's so funny because it takes a crack at everything. Everything. And I feel like the Disney version, it was just the fluffy version, and it was meant for kids, like adults enjoy it too, but this, it is so adult and not really in context, more like adult brains are like, ooh, that's a stab at the government. Like,
I think I'm gonna have to go back and read that now.
Oh, you do.
Yep. I feel like reading stuff as an adult really makes you realize what they put in there for the grown-ups reading this story.
Absolutely, because the mug that I got my mom while we were in Alice in the Village, it was talking about the caucus race. And the caucus race, it's like, everybody wins, everybody gets a trophy. So it's like everything is so relevant still today.
Yeah. So much fun.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings me to my next book. I was a huge fan of this series when I was in middle school. My middle school didn't have a ton of books, but they had a lot of this particular series, which I was so thrilled with because I was in there every few days getting the next one. Nancy Drew.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? I was obsessed with Nancy Drew. For the amount of mystery books I read as a child, it is amazing that I'm a romance writer and not a mystery writer. At some point, I'm going to have to try my hand at it. But I was obsessed with this. So I loved Nancy Drew. There was a series, and I don't have it with me right now. You might have read it. It was the Three Cousins Detective Club. It was no. Oh my gosh! It was about these 3 cousins. They were all cousins, so no siblings, and they formed their own detective club, and they solved mysteries, and it was so good. And there was a bunch of them. They were like younger middle grades, but so dang good. And I just ate up those mysteries. I went from like the young mysteries right into adult mysteries. So I was obsessed with it, obsessed, but I loved, love Nancy Drew.
Now, I don't have the books with me, but on the mystery note, I was addicted to, I don't know if you ever read, like, they were animals and it was a detective story. And it was like the Howlidaean, Bunnicula. Oh my gosh. No, honestly, Return to Howlidaean. And it was these two dogs that ran through these mysteries. And
it was fun.
It was so, like, I would go to the thrift store and just, like, my grandmother would bring me to the thrift store every weekend and I would just stockpile up on books. And, like, even back then I had a book hoarding problem.
No, it's not called hoarding and it's not a problem.
But I absolutely loved these books. I think I read them in, like, second grade that I had to do a report on Bunnicula, which he is a vampire bunny and he has red eyes and he's white and black. So it looks like he has like this cape and he drains the nutrients from the vegetables and they turn white. And the dogs are trying to, like, they don't trust him and they're trying to solve this mystery. And
that is adorable. I love that. I need to look this up.
You do, because they're small. They're like 90 pages or something. But like, I love them. And I'm not really a mystery person. It has to be really entertaining. But yes, Bunnicula is the best. I'm like, so glad somebody knows.
This, but that sounds like so much fun.
It really was, the whole series, because there's a ton of those books. Those books were so fun.
That's amazing. I love that. All right, so that brings me to my next comment. And I know, Elle, you're a big fan of this as well. This is one of our favorites, and we take issue with some of the things that happen in this book because we're not necessarily thrilled with the ending. Little Women.
Oh, yes.
So we've actually talked about Little Women on the show before multiple times. We actually watched the PBS version of this together a few months ago. Very, very good. Highly recommend it. You guys should check it out. I think it's my favorite version of Little Women to date. But we both take issue with the fact that Jo did not end up with Laurie. So,
spoiler.
You know what? Sorry, if you haven't read Little Women at this point, I can't help you. But I was so I love this story. I love this particular cover too because we've got
it is beautiful. I love the gold on it too.
Right? It's so pretty and shiny. But wait, look at the spine here.
Oh my gosh! Does it have art inside?
On it? Does it? It does. It's been a long time since I've actually opened this book. There was actually something else I saw. Where did that go?
Oh, I love those old illustrations.
Right? Love it. So pretty. There's actually... Look at that. The inside. Why
don't they make books like that anymore, you know?
Because it costs too much.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, they only do that for the classics.
Money. Okay. I just had a book on my mind because I ran out of like physical books. Oh, I remember.
Same.
I remember. Julie of the Wolves. It was a series, and I was trying to find a book series or just like a style that I was too old for, reading Frog and Toad and Little Bear, and I just couldn't find something that the mystery was boring to me after Howlidaean. I just couldn't find something that like really wanted to capture my interest. So I was obsessed with wolves when I was little. I wanted to be a wolf.
And now you want to be a cat.
Yes, meow. But Julie of the Wolves, it really ensnared me, and I just fell in love with the style and the story. And it's 3 books long, and it follows this girl who ends up getting stranded in the tundra of Alaska, and this pack of wolves ends up adopting her and helps her to survive. And it's not like a lame, they talk to her. It's this pack of wolves, they take her on as a member, and she has to live like a wolf to survive. So she has to eat the regurgitated food, because if she doesn't, she's going to die. And she uses their warmth, their body warmth, and their cave and everything. And she ends up climbing up the ranks in the pack and forms this huge bond with this pack. And then she returns to visit them throughout the series. And then you find out something tragic that her dad does later on. And it's just, it was very upsetting, but I love this series because it was real. Like, it could really happen. And I just loved watching Julie become this lost girl in the tundra, being raised by wolves, to returning home, to then growing up into this young woman, and just still thanking and appreciating the wolves and really fighting for them too.
All right, guys, if you are here with us live, let us know what was your favorite childhood book. What inspired you to keep reading? What inspired you to love the genres that you love? Or what inspired you to do your own writing? Let us know in those comments below. And if you are on our replay, go ahead and leave us some comment love too. We would love to hear from you guys. And hey, we might even do some extra videos just for you guys. Give us a shout out, let us know, and if you are enjoying yourself, if you're having fun, do us a favor and hit that share button, because that lets Facebook know that we are doing something right, we're doing something fun, and it should be showing our video to more people, which means we can do more and more fabulous things. Elle, as we are wrapping up today's show, give me your final thoughts on why books as a child are so important and why it's so necessary for us to be exposing the new generations to stories like these.
I think it's important to inspire an imagination in a child, because I believe it's linked to hopes and dreams too. You know, what you aspire to be as you grow up. You know, reading, reading these books might just seem like entertainment, but it also helps them grow their vocabularies. Think about things like problem solving and how to build friendships, and how, like I said, solving problems and morals and consequences, really. I think it's really important just to read no matter what to a child. My children are doing reading programs this summer, and I always read bedtime stories. And I just think it's really important to inspire them to read and even write. I mean, my son also loves to write science-y things, but he still loves to write. So that's important to me.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I'm a teacher, so. It is so important, and I am so incredibly grateful that my mother and your mother and all fabulous parents who are actively working with reading with their children, I think it's so great that they have taken the time to really instill those values in us and to teach us and educate us through the books that we were reading, and to inspire us to get into this literature and then to go on and do something with that. So I absolutely love that. Shout out to all the fabulous parents who are reading to their children, and to all the kids who cannot get enough books. Thank you, thank you, thank you for getting involved in this community. We are super excited, speaking of communities, to be creating this community with you. We love seeing you guys here each and every week, and we just wanted to let you know that we are going to be here every single Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for a new Young Adult Edition next week. I am so excited. This is probably going to be my favorite show. This is my favorite topic. This is what I write about like all the time. I'm thrilled to pieces because next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook.k.m.robinson photography. No, Lord. Yeah. Right here on Facebook.com/k.m.robinson books, because also I do lots of other things. We are going to be doing an episode all about retellings. So we were talking fairy tale retellings, nursery rhyme retellings. It's going to be so much fun. We have author Annie Sullivan, who is the author of Touch of Gold, which comes out next month from Harper. and we are thrilled to pieces. We're going to be talking all about her King Midas retelling, and we're going to talk about all of our retellings too. I have Goldilocks, I've got Sleeping Beauty, I have Little Miss Muffet, Little Bo Peep, Spider, I have all sorts of Little Mermaid and Goose Girl and things that I can't tell you yet. Elle has one coming out very, very soon, which we're super excited about. We're going to dish all about it next week as we hang out with Annie Sullivan. It's going to be so much fun, and we hope you guys will join us next week as we talk about my favorite topic ever, retellings. You thought I was going to say social media, but I did say retelling.
Does that mean we get to pull out more books?
Yes, always. I feel like you should just have your fairy tale book, and we'll just hold it up, and we'll just be like, and this is a retelling for this, and this is a retelling for that. Yeah. We're going to have a major list next week, guys, for you of retellings. We're also having sample chapters from different authors with their retellings. It's going to be good. So you're going to be able to check out a lot of retellings next week. Join us on Monday. So much fun. Elle, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram as well as Facebook at Elle Beaumont Books. And you can also find me on Twitter at Elle Beaumont. And you can always find me on my website at ellebeaumontbooks.com. Thank you, KM, for rubbing off on me.
This is what happens when you hang out with me. It's going to be fun. I'm K.m. Robinson, author of The Golden Trilogy, Jada Duology, and 800 other books that are currently out. Not really 800, but close. You can hang out with me at k.m.robinsonbooks.com, where I have world portals for all of the behind the scenes of my stories. We are getting a makeover as we speak, and so info is going to be changed. If you want to see the old stuff, get there now. You can also hit me up at K.M. Robinson Books on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. You can see my brand new IGTV channel over on Instagram.com/KMRobinsonBooks. You can also hang out with me on YouTube, where I have rebroadcasts of Young Adult Edition, rebroadcasts of all of my live shows on my Facebook and Instagram. We also have pre-recorded videos answering fan questions behind the scenes. There are trailers. There's Q&A. There is all sorts of information for aspiring writers, and we would love to see you guys over on my YouTube page, and of course, blog.kmrobinsonbooks.com. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. We will see you next week as we talk all about retellings. It's going to be so much fun. Thanks for joining. Leave us some comment love. Hit the share button if you enjoyed, and we will see you again next week. Until then, stay inspired. Bye-bye.